Welcome back to Hockey Unplugged. I'm Carson and I'm here with Jack Cheyenne, and we're just going to be going over a little bit of recent Flames and Canucks news, specifically the Lindholm trade. We're a little late here, but...
A little late.
That's all right.
Yeah, we were trying to do it last week, but we ran into some technical difficulties. Almost today, I guess it was me really with the technical difficulties, but we're doing it now, so it's all good.
All right.
Alrighty, so I can just to start off, I guess I can read off the trade. I have the trade up here, so I can just read it off in case somehow people still don't know about it, but whatever. So the Canucks received forward Elias Lindholm. That's all they got. And then the Flames, we got Andrei Kuzmenko, Hunter Brustevich. I believe that's how you say his name. I researched a little bit, but yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. And then Yanni Yermo, who's another defensive prospect. Oh, I should mind Brustevich is a defensive prospect. He's drafted 3rd overall this year, 2023 actually. So just this last draft. And then this Yanni Yermo guy was drafted in 2020, so a little bit older. He's same age as Zary for Flames fans, if you want to know that. Then we got their 1st rounder for this year and their 4th rounder this year, and it's conditional. I think the conditions are if the Canucks make it to the Western Conference Finals, it turns into a 3rd. But if not, it just stays a 4th. So those are the pretty simple conditions on that.
I feel like the Canucks initially, I thought they gave up a lot more than they should have.
Yeah, I kind of noticed a lot of Canucks fans felt that.
Yeah, just at first glance, but kind of after thinking about it for a little bit, I feel like it was a decently fair trade.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely good for both sides. Good for the Canucks, just in their win now state.
Yeah, I mean when I didn't really think I knew the Canucks were in on it, but I didn't really assume for them to go right in for the big fish right away, especially considering this is the first year that they've actually been pretty competitive. I thought they'd maybe go with if they were looking for a centerman, which is probably what they needed, help up front. I thought it'd be Monahan, honestly, something like that, just something a little cheaper, but I guess credit to them for going all in on it, right?
Yeah, for sure. They were interested in Monahan. I remember I sent you an Instagram post about that. I actually would have liked to see Monty on the Canucks, but
yeah, it's kind of funny too, because I originally thought if you would have asked me before these trades went down, I would have said, I bet Monahan goes to the Canucks and Lindholm goes to the Jets, but it actually turned out the other way around.
Yeah.
But I guess my initial thoughts, I remember seeing the rumors, and if you remember when they're super early on, about an hour before the trade went down, it was rumor Kuzmenko to the Flames for Lindholm. And right away I got scared because I thought it was going to be a trade where it was just Kuzmenko and a second for Lindholm. I thought it was going to be some win now, try to stay afloat in the playoff race.
Oh yeah.
So I was literally no, please tell me this isn't real, because Kuzmenko isn't young either. He's 28 or something, or he just turned 29. I don't know for sure. So I thought it was going to be something like that. And I was bro, this is so win now. But then when I saw the package, the rest of it, it still took me a minute to process it. I was kind of slow. I'm okay. I was looking at the names and I saw Brustevich, and I was where do I remember hearing that name? But I remember now seeing a ton of TikToks on him saying how he is kind of a steal of not the steal of a draft, but one of the steals of the draft, especially for the Canucks to get him in the 3rd round. So overall, now I'd say I'm pretty excited, but at first I was pretty worried.
Yeah, I can definitely see how you would be worried about that, but that'd suck for the Flames if it wasn't
Yeah, I didn't want it to be just so win now, especially because Kuzmenko isn't having that great of a season. So I was bro, the Flames are literally gonna get fleeced on this trade. But overall, it turned out pretty good. For me, the most exciting part of the trade is probably the first. Like the first is going to be a late first, obviously. Like I think even if the Canucks lost in the first round, it'd only be like 21st overall or something, like 20th overall. So like it's not going to be like an extremely high pick, but you could always like package our first and their first and move up or something. Like I don't know, obviously what they want to do with it, but you can do that. And then Bruce Stevich is interesting too. Like I understand now maybe why the Canucks were more okay with moving on from him, because although he isn't like one of the best in Vancouver, he was there, but it makes sense why they're okay with moving on from him.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I feel like I'm excited to see actually like how his career goes, because I think he can be good. Like he has the potential to be good, and
yeah,
I hope he ends up good and playing for the Flames at some point, or playing for whatever team. I could imagine him maybe being traded again, but
never know, right? Like who knows? But I also wanted to mention, I don't know if you saw the rumors, like literally like as this trade went down, like maybe like the next day, it was like rumored that the Flames would be willing to flip Kuzmenko at the deadline.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like actually as of right now, we just lost like literally like an hour ago, we just lost to the Red Wings 5-0.
Really?
So we're back down to like probably like bottom 10 in the league for sure. That's like the third straight loss. But Kuzmenko on the bright side has been like doing pretty solid. He has, I think, 3 goals and like maybe he's played like 6 games up to this point now. So he's been doing like pretty good. But I've seen like some of his like media stuff now. I've gotten kind of a glimpse of like how funny of a guy he is, and he does seem like a pretty funny guy for sure.
Yeah, I really like his personality. That's one of the biggest reasons. Like I was kind of devastated when he got traded, honestly.
Yeah.
It was like he wasn't playing great, but all the Canucks fans love him, and he's just kind of a fun guy to have on the team.
Yeah, he does seem super fun. Like if he was younger, I would be like super open to like trying to keep him longer, but just because he's 20, like 28, 29, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get traded this deadline, but I think next year I could see him getting traded when his contract's expiring.
Yeah,
because like just because he doesn't fit the timeline at all, unfortunately, with the Flames, but he is a fun player, I guess, for the short term side of things, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, but I guess we could kind of look at like the Canucks point of view, and I'll like let you start off here. Like, what do you like about this trade from the Canucks side of things?
Yeah, so obviously I like that the Canucks are like wanting to be competitive. That's a big thing. Just the trade overall just kind of shows that they really want to do what they can this year to make it as far as possible. We definitely needed some of that like second line center depth.
Yeah.
Like we just really like our first line was really strong, and our fourth line is actually really strong as well. And the second and third line were kind of like they're good, but they definitely could have used some extra help before the trade, and I think Lindholm is definitely going to be able to help out the second line quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of like what are the lines looking like right now? Like who's Lindholm playing with on his wing?
I can't remember who he's played with most recently.
Because didn't they move Miller up to the wing now, like on the top line?
They did, yeah. It was Pettersson, Besser, and Miller. I don't know if that line is for sure still together, just like currently. But a lot of people are calling that the lotto line because it's 649 Pettersson or Besser.
Oh yeah, dude, that's
Pettersson,
funny.
Miller. Yeah.
I don't hate the idea of like obviously like with that they're like looking to like stack the top line with like the top 3 forwards. But I kind of wonder, because I was looking at the Canucks like wing depth, and to be honest, it's not like great. Like I think when I was looking at what the mock roster would look like with Lindholm, it was like he's playing with like Suter and who is the other winger? Mikheyev on his wings. So like honestly, those aren't like great wingers for Lindy, I don't think. Like I think you have to have him with like a more skilled guy. So like what I was thinking is maybe split up Pettersson, Besser, Miller, and Lindholm and put them into pairs of 2. I think that would work. Like maybe put like, I don't know, like you could even put Lindholm on the wing and keep Miller at center, because Lindholm has played wing. Like you could literally run like Pettersson and Lindholm if you wanted, and Besser or Lindholm and Pettersson, and then Besser and Miller, like something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch actually. I'll have to see what they end up doing. I think he's just still trying to see where he fits in. Kind of, they're probably switching it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. He's done like all right though, hasn't he? Like he already has like 4 goals or something.
His first
in like
game,
6 games or something. Yeah, and I think this like just recent when he scored 2 as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, I was like watching the highlights. Kind of nice goals actually too.
Yeah, I've liked him so far for the past 6 games or whatever. It's definitely, can see how he's helping.
I can tell it's like give a meter, if you know what I mean, has gone up.
Yeah.
Like on the Flames, he was like, you could just tell he was trekked out. Like he didn't want to be there. And like, I understand it. Like I don't, no hard feelings to him, but it's like, you can tell he's actually trying now. Like already has like 4 goals. So
oh yeah,
I think it's going to work out for sure. And hopefully like, obviously like I'm not going to necessarily be rooting for the Canucks, but I hope Lindholm does do well there.
Yeah, you could kind of tell just from his like social media and stuff as well that he was excited for a new opportunity to get in.
Yeah, for sure. I think he needed it too.
Yeah,
the team needed it. Like it made so much sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, I kind of want to give like my views from the Canucks side. So I think like if you're a Canucks fan looking at it at first, again, like I kind of agree. Like it looked like you gave up a lot. But maybe now, like looking back, it's not like the worst trade ever. Like I think the stuff you gave away is like stuff you already either have, if that makes sense, or it's things that just when you're a contender you have to give up, like stuff like the first rounder, and then wasn't Kuzmenko like just a healthy scratch at some points?
Yeah, a lot of games this year he was kind of just on the bench. Like I think his last game as a Canuck, there's a clip of him going around like quite a bit of him just sitting on the bench by himself after the entire team had like gone back into the room.
Yeah. So I don't know, like I don't really want to get into that too much, but maybe Kuzmenko just didn't mesh too well with like Rick Tocchet or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's kind of what I heard from it, at least.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks because he did have like a 40-goal season the first year, but it is what it is. So like he obviously wasn't like really working out there anymore, unfortunately. And then I just think Lindholm, again, like you said, like helps so much on the middle. Like they honestly, just off the top of my head, the Canucks may have one of the best like 1-2 punches down the middle now with like Pettersson and Lindholm. Like the only one I could think that's like really better is obviously like McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Other than that, like they're up there for sure. Like it's pretty like impressive, like how much like they just like that kind of like have like one of the best like center depths in the league.
Yeah, for sure. They're just overall such an exciting team this year, and like
yeah, it is honestly. Like I feel like it's good for you Canucks fans too. You had like so much years of like mediocrity. Like
it's so weird because that like obviously we made changes, but there wasn't like insane changes other than the coaching. Obviously, I think that was a big part of it. But just from last year to this year, like we're so much better.
Yeah, like it's like I didn't even expect this. Like I think when we did our season predictions with Jaden, I had them at like 5th or something like that, like sneaking into a wild card. So, but I also had like the Sabres 2nd in Atlantic. So.
Yeah, that's true.
The Glaze was too much. I mean, on the Sabres.
Yeah.
But anyway, like Lindholm, I was gonna say like he's obviously like not just a point getter. Like I think a lot of people forget too. He's like one of the best 2-way centers in the league. Like he's gonna help you guys in like all areas of the game. Like offense, obviously, he's gonna be able to shut down like the top guys when it comes to a playoff series. Like you can throw Pettersson against like the third lines, let him score, and then let Lindy have like sort of the harder matchups. And he's gonna be like, I assume maybe PK1 there. So he's gonna hit like top 6, PK1, power play 1. Like he's helping you guys in all areas of the game.
For sure, yeah. It'll be fun to watch him. I really hope he does well because I think he will.
Yeah, I think he's looking good right now, so that's very promising. But I think it's also good too from the Canucks perspective is you guys didn't give, I kind of already mentioned this, but you guys didn't give up any guys like Lekkerimäki or the Pettersson. Is that how you say the defensive prospect's name, Pettersson or whatever? So those are probably like your guys' like big prospects, and it's pretty impressive that considering you guys got like the like #1 trade bait target on the block and not giving up like like one of your best prospects, it's pretty impressive. Like I still think Bruce Stevich was probably like your 4th or 3rd maybe. I'm not like too familiar with the Canucks prospect pool. But Oh, and Wallander too is another guy,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Willander. Like,
Wheelander.
so those are probably your top three guys, and you didn't give up. So you gave up your fourth best prospect,
Yeah.
which is like pretty impressive. And I think too, I was listening to a Canucks podcast actually, so I'm not gonna like take credit for like kind of like noticing this, but if you don't know, Bruce Stevich is like a smaller right-handed offensive defenseman, and if you're a Canucks fan, that probably sounds familiar because you already have one in Quinn Hughes, a small, like agile number one, runs the power play, everything. So like Bruce Stevich really doesn't have like a spot in the Canucks roster, unfortunately, because they already have Quinn Hughes. So it makes sense like why they're like, oh, like we don't really need him in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like when you look at it from the Canucks side, like I don't like obviously it's gonna suck to lose Bruce Stevich because I do think he is gonna turn to a player, but you're not gonna like necessarily miss him because you have Quinn Hughes, who's like a top 3 defenseman in the league, in my opinion. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't think we really gave up. Like, I think it still could have been a little bit of an overpay.
maybe a little, yeah.
Nothing like crazy.
Yeah. I think the only way you really like start to worry, or I don't know, like if you would look back and maybe be like, okay, this sucks, is if Lindholm is just ends up being a rental
Yeah.
and he leaves this summer. Like, I don't know what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, if he was a rental and we won the cup, I would have like no negative thoughts about that. Like, he did his job,
Yeah.
whatever. But if he's just a rental and we make it to like the second round and get knocked out,
Yeah, that would kind of
happy
suck.
about that.
Yeah, like if you guys go on a deep run or something and Lindholm's like a big piece and then he walks, or you even win the cup, who knows? And like you're like, whatever, like we won a cup. Like,
Yeah.
but if you guys are like a first round exit or something, it doesn't look as good for sure.
Yeah, it'd be unfortunate. I hope we re-sign him. I'm just kind of scared of like us re-signing him to a long-term deal. Like,
Yeah.
I would be happy with like 4 years.
Yeah, I'd actually be interested, like, how could they really like fit him into the cap? Because
Yeah, that's another thing.
just because Pedersen, I know, is obviously expired this year, right? So you guys got to
Yeah.
pay him, and then Quinn Hughes, he's still like a little bit longer, right? He still has like maybe like 4 years or something.
I think so, yeah.
So you don't have to worry about him too much. And then Miller's, he was locked up like a few summers ago.
Yeah.
And then Besser, I thought Besser was only on like a bridge deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do about that. Like, I think it was like 4 years or something. So you still maybe have like
So-
2 years.
I bet he'll resign if he's
Yeah.
offered something.
It would be interesting too to see like, because if you remember, like Lindholm was asking for like $9 million
Yeah.
a year to stay in Calgary. And I kind of just wonder if that's like, because he didn't really want to stay in Calgary. He's probably thinking like, oh, if you want to keep me, you have to overpay me.
Yeah.
But if he likes it in Vancouver, like who knows, maybe he'll be like, oh, I really like this. I'll take like a pay cut of like $1.5 million or something. Maybe you only pay him like $7 million or something over like 8 years, which I think that would be really good, especially for like your second line center. Being probably like one of the best second line centers in the league. Like I would take that as a Canucks fan.
Yeah, for sure. I could see him like wanting a little bit less if we go to re-sign him.
Yeah.
Because like he wasn't happy with the Flames, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I think you're right about that. He wanted an overpay if he was going to stay there, but I think
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I think on an actual like winning team, or we're winning at least this season, you never know about like next season. But I think
Yeah.
currently be willing to take a pay cut. I would be.
Yeah, for sure. That would be pretty good. But anyway, kind of want to like shift over to the Flame side of things. So I can like start us off here. I think when we were like shopping Lindholm, I think the asking price was a roster player, first round pick, and then a prospect. So like from the basis, like we got like way more, I think, than we expected. Like I think that was probably like a lot of what people were throwing out there was like roster player, first round pick, and then a prospect. And I think the Canucks just came out, from like what it sounds like, they just came out of nowhere and like offered this like huge package. So I think it was like the best that we could get. So I think like for that reason, just like the more assets that because it was the most assets that probably anyone was offering was 5. So we're like, okay, like we'll just do this, I guess.
Yeah. That makes sense from the Flames perspective. Like I kind of wonder who else was making offers. Like
Yeah,
that's
what I wondered
We're
too.
probably in on it.
I think Jets. I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado maybe poked around a little bit. I don't know how serious they would have gone, but yeah, it sounds like the Canucks just like kind of came out of nowhere. Like everyone was just offering these like default, and then like Canucks just come out of nowhere and offer this like huge package, and he's like, oh, I guess I gotta take this.
He's a Swede. We need him.
Yeah, literally. How many suites you guys have now? Like
It's actually less than
entire roster.
I saw on Instagram. We have mostly Americans, actually.
Oh, really?
There are a lot of Americans, and then I think the Swedes are second for the most players on the Canucks roster.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think like too, considering like this is Lindholm's like worst year that he's ever had. So like considering we got what we got in like the return, like it's pretty impressive. Like honestly, like I would have thought like this is probably what I would have thought you could have gone like one of his best years. Like, I didn't really I thought, especially because it was like kind of a weaker year for him, I thought maybe like his trade value would come down a little bit, but I don't think it really did. Like we still were able to maximize his value, I think, just because his contract is super cheap. It's like just over 4 million, like 4.5 million or something, and he's expiring, and it's like, so we were still able to maximize it. Thankfully, because I would have been pissed if it was like Kuzmenko in a second.
Yeah.
That would have been. I would not be here right now.
Not be here.
But I think too, I want to look at like, you kind of talked about how Bruce Stevich didn't really have like it didn't really seem like he had like a fit with the Canucks necessarily, just because of his like play style or whatever. I think with the Flames, like we have a pretty weak defensive prospect pool. Like our forwards are pretty solid. Like it's still nothing to like write home about, but the defense was pretty bad. Like before this trade, we literally had like Etienne Morin and Jeremy Poirier were like the only like notable guys, and they like their ceilings are maybe like second pair guys, which is fine. But I think Bruce Stevich is sort of a prospect where it's super high ceiling. Like I could see this guy turning into like a 65-point power play one like defenseman with like, I think the thing he lacks though is defense. So I think he'll always kind of be like that, but he'll just be that like true like offense guy, which is like what the Flames need for the future on defense. Like we don't really have that at all. So it was really good to get. It's just a great fit for us. I hope we can maybe lock him up on like a AHL or just sign him onto his ELC soon. I think he's on Kitchener Rangers, I think, OHL. I think that's the team he's on. So I don't know when the season ends for them. Maybe like May. So hopefully like around then we'll get like an ELC or something for him, which would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be pretty big for the Flames. I think how strong is the actual like roster defense right now? Like I should
like
know,
the actual like Flames
NHL roster.
Yeah, it's still like decent. It's gonna get diminished pretty soon because I think everyone kind of knows Hanifin and Tanev are gone like the next few weeks. But right now it's still fine. Like Anderson, Weegar, Hanifin, Tanev, like your top four is just still pretty good. It's obviously gonna get a lot worse. And then I don't know if you've heard, but like so much Markstrom rumors right now too, and they're still they're still humming about it in the news. Apparently talks aren't dead yet, so we'll see with that. And Markstrom played today, and he let in like I think he only let in four of the five, but that was like only 4, but it was on like 16 shots. So it was like horrible, and like he got pulled after that, which was kind of funny. But anyway, I want to give like a little if you like aren't like too familiar with Bruce Stevich, he's sort of like from what I've read, he's like his player comp is similar to like Adam Fox, which is ironic because Flames fans always have like that connection with Adam Fox. But like sort of Adam Fox, just that like smaller. He's not like fast really, but he's just such a high IQ that he kind of makes up for like his lack of speed, and just like great passer. He can shoot the puck. He's just overall like just high ceiling, but kind of low floor at the same time. Like he could for sure bust, I think. Another thing with this trade, I kind of like once it happened, it kind of made me like a little bit sad. Not because like I was like regretted trading Lindholm, but like for me, this might make some people feel old, but I didn't really grow up on like the Jerome McGinley era of hockey. Like I think he left in like, what was it? It was like maybe like 11,
Yeah, 11.
and I was
12.
like, what? How old would I have been? Like 6 or 5, like super young, something like that. So like I didn't like really grow up like remembering him play. It's like the era that I like actually like started watching like that. I remember in like 2015 playoffs when I was like 9. I think I was like 9 in the April 2015, something like that. Like I remember like the Gaudreau, Monahan, Kachuk, Giordano, Lindholm. Like that's like the Flames that I like kind of grew up watching. And I'm sure that probably actually makes a lot of people feel old that I didn't really like watch a ton of Iginla. But now that like all of those guys are gone, because like Lindholm was like the last remaining guy of that core, it is kind of like sad that like, oh wow, like this is like an actual like new era of hockey for Flames. And I mean, it's something that we needed, but when it did happen, it was kind of like, wow, like just like that, the era's done.
Yeah, for sure. That reminds me as well. A lot of people this year have been comparing the Canucks to that 2011 Canucks team.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
In like what sense, really? Like just the play style, or?
Yeah, not even the play style, just the amount of skill. Like it's the most exciting the team has been to watch in, I don't know even how many years that is, like over 10 years.
Yeah, it's like 12 years maybe or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's just nothing. Like I did watch that team in 2011. And I was 5 or 6.
Yeah, you're like so young.
I don't remember a ton of it, but this is the best I've ever like seen the Canucks and been really like invested in. I don't know. It's just pretty exciting this year.
Yeah, I think like to basically like wrap it up like this, I think it's just like a really like solid trade from either side. Like even if Lindholm does turn into a rental, like that's just how it works. Like sometimes that's just how trades work. Like if you think of like the Giroux trade where he was sent to Florida a few years ago, like Florida gave up so much to Philly to get him, and he just ended up being like a rental. So it does suck, obviously, especially when you get a player of that caliber, but that's just how it works sometimes. And I think the Canucks needed a Lindholm or something like that just for in their state of win now, like you said. So it makes sense. And then the Flames too, like as much as like a lot of people I'm sure are still trying to reject it, the rebuild is upon us and it's coming soon. We've lost like 3 straight now. We're bottom 10 in the league. We're getting some picks. We have 2 picks. This is like the first time in I don't know how long that we've had 2 first-round picks in a year. We're bolstering the prospect pool a little bit. We got Kuzmenko, who could be a fun player, probably just going to be a rental. So overall, I think it's just a great trade for both sides.
Yeah, for sure. I think both sides benefit from it for sure. Like in their current states, I think it fits both teams kind of like we're just where they are right now. It fits them really well. And I don't know, I hope it turns out well for both teams.
Yeah, same. I'm for sure, like I said, it's going to be hard to cheer for the Canucks, but I'll for sure be cheering on Lindy in the playoffs, and I'll be watching lots of Canucks games this year for the playoffs. Alrighty, well, I think that's basically all we have. So thanks, guys, for listening, and make sure to interact with all the social media posts. It helps us for the podcast quite a bit, and take care.